my life, basically. Okay? So I'm about to click them. So this is kind of a picture of all of the different places that have value and meaning to me and where I've been involved with. Of course, I was born in the United States, in Los Angeles. I didn't stay there long. And I've moved and lived all over the United States, including Tennessee, Texas, and of course Sacramento, this area. My parents are from Taiwan, but my grandparents are from China. Okay? And some of these other flags are places I've been, which I will talk to you a little bit more about. And there's places that I really have a heart for, and you'll see what I mean by that. Okay? All right. So just a quick introduction to the places I've worked. This is a whole smattering. On the left-hand side are all the places I've interned at, and on the right-hand side are places I've worked at. Okay. As an engineer, if you're an intern, you actually generally make money, unless you get into education. That's a different story. But even though I was just an intern at Dallas Semiconductor, Compaq, National Instruments, I was paid quite well, just for working there over the summer. Okay. But I also, interned at schools, and I was definitely not paid at these two schools. Now, that's what I originally had. And then last night I added this slide just for fun. I said, well, what about some of the other places I worked? I should go ahead and tell you guys about those too. My first job was at Chuck E. Cheese, okay? And they knew that I was pretty good with numbers. And so the first thing they asked me was, you want to be a cashier? So, tell you a little story. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, first day as a cashier. Everybody's done. I counted my drawer of money, and I took it to my manager, and like a couple minutes later, he came back, he said, okay, everybody can go home, but Jerry, I need to talk to you. So he takes me into this like tiny room, like probably maybe just barely bigger than like right here, this corner here, okay? This is where they put all the money and stuff. He says, Jerry, in the, I don't know, he said 15, of the 15 years I've worked here, never, ever have I had a cashier come back with a perfect drawer. And that means basically every penny that I collected, I should have, and any penny that I shouldn't have collected, I didn't, right? So I just think that all of you guys probably could achieve that same result. But for him, in 15 years, he didn't have anyone who knew enough about money, I guess, to have a perfect drawer. So, but he scared the crap out of me, okay, when he said that. After that, I took on some other jobs, like Office Max. I worked there because I love electronics and helping people, and they paid pretty well. And it was weird because it was my second job, and they required you back then to wear a shirt and tie. And so that was weird. I bought shirt and ties the first time in my life, and that's my jobs. And so this is all stuff I did when I was under 20. And I also tutored with Kumon. I tutored kids in anything math-related. Obviously, math is my stronger field. And then, between high school and college, I just wanted to do something fun. And my mom had a friend, this guy right here. And he owned like the only nice Chinese restaurant I've ever been to, okay? Still to this day, I live in a nice Chinese restaurant. Like nice, as in like it's pretty inside, it's not like a typical Chinese restaurant. So I worked for him that summer, and I learned so much about the world of business, Like I just thought it would be really cool. And I got this opportunity, just 3 months, work with him before I went off to college to be an engineer. And I learned a lot about business and how to like deal with people and talk to people. Very, very, very interesting experience. And so, I actually had information for 2 slides. So I decided to make another one of my experiences working under the age of 10. Okay? I didn't even think about this before, but I'll talk about this one first. When I was really little, I had an uncle who owned a restaurant. Okay, this is not a 5-star restaurant. And they just wanted something fun for us to do when we visited them. So I would go ahead and after they washed all the silverware, they would have me dry them, And so in a way, that was like my first job because I did get paid for it. He gave me like, I don't know, maybe 50 cents or $1 for doing it. But I remember that, I remember that. It's like one of my first jobs, But this one's really important because my family for 2 years, the reason why we moved to Texas was my dad had this idea in 1981-82, to own our own entrepreneurial, like little small computer company. And it was called Microtron Computer Resources. It sounds weird saying it. Microtron Computer Resources. And we basically original PCs, like the XT80, x86, the original ones that IBM had designed, and then people made clones of, okay? And so our family built them, put them together, and we sold them. And it was my job to teach the people who came in how to use the software, you know? And that was a really fun job. I mean, I got to, of course we had one at home, and I had early access to like this $3,000 or whatever it cost back then machine. But it was a great experience for me because I learned how to program on it. I did a lot of things just because I had, oh, we just lose power? Yeah, the thing shut off. Yeah.
Too many presentations. No, just put it again.
That's off. It's not the connection. It's that this whole thing is off.
Yeah, it's done. It's angry.
Yeah. It's a blinking a red light. Okay, we really use that projector today, so I have to continue this maybe later. Can you guys see this? Oh.
Yeah.
We got this. Okay. I have to peek at this a little bit here. Oh, it's turning on.
It's pretty
Yay. All right. So those were my first, 18 years of my life. It was kind of like my adventures. And I mean, if you guys notice, I worked a lot. I know plenty of students who like, their parents like, oh, I just want you to focus on education. You know, the guy who married my sister, he was like that. He never had a job before he finished college, went to medical school, and finally at the age of like, I don't know, 27, 28, 29, did he really get his first job? You know, but my experience is quite different. I mean, our family was not wealthy, so if I wanted like just fun money or things of my own, like I had to get a job. And so that's one of the things I did. Well, anyways, let's move on. So after high school, I was one of the very first students at my high school to attend Rice University. Rice University, if you don't know, it's the probably most prestigious private school in Texas. I wanted to stay in Texas, but I didn't mind being like a little bit further. So between Dallas, which is where I grew up, and Houston, which is where Rice is, it's about like a 5-hour drive. And so I would make that drive all the time between home, holidays and stuff. But I got to get away a little bit too. So Rice was this place where I really got a chance to know what engineering is about. I had no idea what engineering is about. You guys are here at Cosmos, you're in high school, you already have a really good taste of what engineering is about. I declared engineering as a major because someone said, hey Jerry, you're good at math, you should try engineering. Okay? I took a lot of computer science classes in high school, but that's my story of engineering. So I got there and I majored in electrical computer engineering. I spent 4 years there and developed a lot of skills, which ultimately led to me working here in Sacramento. Okay? And so here's my story. Every summer, as an engineer, I took an internship with a different company. And each one of them, at that time, paid me somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000 just for the summer. Okay? And so Dallas Semiconductor was the first summer between freshman and sophomore year. I worked at Compaq between sophomore and junior year, and then I worked at National Instruments between junior and senior year. Okay, but then something happened to me. My brain and my heart were fighting. I just felt like when I started working at HP that like I could not see myself doing this for 30, 40 years. Okay, and I had to do a lot of reflection on myself. And so this is round one of this fight. Okay, here we go. Round one of this fight. So who won? I don't know, but in a way, I felt like teaching. I considered a lot of things like seminary. I considered being a missionary. I considered a lot of other things, but teaching was a balance between the two for me. So I told my boss at around the 6th year of working at HP that I wanted to consider teaching. And so he supported me. I went and did internships and observed classes and all that kind of stuff you have to do in order to get into teaching professional programs. So that's how I actually came to UC Davis. I came here, I quit my job, I told my boss I was leaving, and I spent 1 year getting a credential here at UC Davis. And I ended up getting a job with Sacramento City Unified School District, which I live in Sacramento. So now my education's at 4+1, okay? All right. And boy, this is one thing I learned about my career is, especially when it comes to teaching, getting teaching credential, it's all about jumping through hoops. And in many ways, I observed you guys this past 4 weeks, and some of you guys, it's like, oh, I don't mind jumping through hoops. I've been doing it all my life, places, you know? Some of you guys are not as willing to jump through hoops, and I understand that, because it's no fun to be a monkey and jump through hoops, you know? But for me, like, the long-term vision of this is what I really want. If I want to teach and I want to have a credential, I've got to jump through a lot of hoops, ridiculous hoops. Okay, I'll tell you, when it comes to teaching in the state of California. So to get there, I had to first do like what they call a student teaching, which is essentially an internship at a local high school in Sacramento. And I observed and did a little teaching at SACHI, which is a charter school, and I ended up working for the New Tech Network School called Sacramento New Technology High School. So that's kind of like where I felt like a very important question was, could I see myself do this for 40 years, right, or 30 years? So at that point, I already worked staff. So could I see myself doing this for the next 30 years? And so that's an important question. So, round two. Okay, round two. At that point, I was still single. I had not done a lot of, I had not like gotten to a serious, I hadn't gotten engaged, and I didn't have necessarily a heart that I had to stay and live in Sacramento. And so one of the big things was I also started taking classes at Western Seminary, and I was considering being a full-time missionary. I was considering moving to another place. So what I first did was I did some traveling with visit other missionaries, and one of them was in Israel. The Speakmans were in Israel, and you know, Israeli and Palestinian conflicts and things like that. And I got a really good chance to see the people, see what they were going through, and help as much as I could. And one of the really strange things was I ended up speaking a lot of Chinese, which I can speak Chinese. I ended up speaking a lot of Chinese over there because who does all of the construction work in Israel? Chinese migrant workers, you know? And so that was very interesting. I got a chance to like share with them a lot about what I believe, and also just to help them, you know, because they have a lot of different experiences. So also in addition here, I went to China, and I also went to Macau. This is the Macau flag. This is the Hong Kong flag. That's the China flag. And so I did similar things working with other missionaries in these places. And there's a picture of Macau. If you guys don't know, Macau is like an island that's attached to China here, and then there's like this part here that's not attached, and then they filled in with artificially it filled in the land in between, so it's now like all connected. A very interesting place. It's like the Vegas of the Far East. You know, they have lots of casinos there, kind of like Las Vegas here. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I talked about that already. Just the places I've been, 3 places I've been. Okay, so round 3. It's no longer a fight anymore. You know, I've got a partnership between my brain and my heart. They've come together, and so here's some of the things that I'm doing now. I'm still teaching for Sacramento New Technology High School, as you know, and this year I'll be teaching pre-calculus, and I've always done a lot of design work. I've always done a lot of design teaching classes. Before this, I was teaching students, computer-aided design, geometry, and I teach a video game design class where students get to design their own Xbox games. And then next year I'll be teaching a robotics class that's kind of based on Cluster 5, so you might see some of those here too. So these are all things I'm getting to do on my intellectual side. But also on the other side, from my fun side, you guys know, I have some hobbies, and I like to design board games. I'm working on a few ideas. I'm also helping to lead the Computer Science Teachers Association, and that game is the one you guys played with me, I think 2 days ago, maybe, or yesterday. And also, I'm pretty involved with the downtown Sacramento area. I live in downtown Sacramento, and I get a chance to work with people. My wife and I, we both have worked with this organization. It's called the New Hope Community Development Corporation, and they partner and they work with schools for after-school programs. And I actually taught there a couple of summers before I did Cosmos, so teaching younger kids and older kids over the summertime. So now I feel like a partnership, for where I work and where I serve, and this is Sacramento, and that's where I am right now. Okay, guys? Okay, so I have a list of topics. Dr. do you want to say anything while I write these up?
Yeah, I was very impressed, including your talk. I am very impressed. You did a very good job, and I hope that you learned something. Don't sit at the back, you will fall asleep. I couldn't resist. I couldn't come here, empty seats here. You say that back, you fall asleep. I couldn't resist. But I really was impressed. You did a good job, and I hope that the job, what did you learn, will help you to make up your mind one way or another. And don't think out of the box. Don't be shy to find out what you really like. I mean, somebody will tell you go engineering, somebody will tell you do this, somebody. Find yourself what you want. And it's not easy. Luckily, as I said to some of you, the first 2 years in college, at least for science, math, and engineering, if you go this route, the first 2 years are extensions to high school. And that will give you a chance to find out for the senior, junior, and senior year what direction you go. In Europe, actually, you get a degree in engineering. And then later on, after you finish the 4 years, you decide whether it's chemical, civil, and now we don't have that. Some schools do have that, but we don't have that in general. But I want you to think of what you went through, and you were lucky that you had a chance to come to Cosmos actually, and you see, you experience this college life, and have fun with your peers, and go to trips, and see lectures, and all of that. I fully appreciate the tips Jerry gave you for public speech and for communication and for presenting yourself. And I need that myself actually. I concentrated on one thing. I want to give you this idea of how you use physics, math, and numerics and computers. This integrated approach is very important. It's very important. And you will not see that. You will not see that. We still have the old-fashioned thing, and math doing their own thing, science doing their own thing, computers is not used as it should be. There is potential to change our life. And you will experience it, because computers will be 1,000 times, million times more powerful in your lifetime. And that will change the game. So if I have one advice to you, take computers seriously. Learn computer language, programming. Don't hate computers, because if you don't know it, if you are not good at it, you will not use it, you will hate it. Just get more involved with computers. You support that, Jerry, right? Computers are here to stay, and we use them heavily, and you, the new generation, will depend on them more. So try to take advantage of this. You have more power than Newton and Prandtl and Euler, because you have this machine. Good luck. And I hope that, what you're going to do now?
If you guys have some other areas you want to cover, that's fine. But I was thinking at first these topics, but we have 6 boards, so we have more space. If people have pictures from field trips, and you took a lot of pictures, maybe you can help with this one. People who have good programming graphs, people who helped write the Catapult Lab program that you guys did with Dr. Parks, maybe help with that one. People who have a good understanding of the aerospace aspects and the Kerbal Space Program, you guys want to document some of that. It doesn't have to be about that. So these are all like areas that I thought were
Put airplanes over there. Since we put rockets, put airplanes.
okay. Together or separate? Separate. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because Jimmy, you talked a lot about planes and
High speed and low speed.
Yeah.
visit the clean room?
You got, well, I mean,
You go
we
to
should
the clean
put
room.
our powder
Oh,
on.
yeah. Clean, go to the clean room.
Yeah, I think that's good, but I mean.
Okay, so if you guys could, if you already know what you want to help out with, go ahead and talk to your Wait, let Jake have Kerbal too. Wait, give Jake Kerbal.
Are you only doing?
So what really everybody is how long is it? Just work.
It's not with my vacation time. Oh my God! I'm almost finished.